Hello dear viewers, and welcome back to the ancient dwarven hold of our ancestors. Today I shall be talking about the game Void War. Void War is a tactical spaceship adventure roguelite game developed and published by Tundra. It was released in June 2025. Before we get started, dear viewers, if you like what I do down here in the ancient hold and haven't done so already, then please consider subscribing to the channel. Every sub means an awful lot and I appreciate everyone that does. If you like the video as well, perhaps give it a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment with your own thoughts. In Void War, you will guide your ship through a treacherous galaxy filled with evilry as you upgrade your vessel and outfit your crew to deal with the worst the universe has to offer, while you make your way to the centre of the Imperial Empire. Okay, so I think it might be wise to talk about the very obvious inspiration for this game to get it out of the way, which is of course Faster Than Light, or FTL. Void War is incredibly similar to FTL, and you could justify calling it FTL 2. The UI the ship displays, the combat, roguelike-ishness, the layout and all sorts are very similar indeed. Yes, it is, dear viewer. But I would keep watching because Void War brings some very unique and interesting additions to the fore that help to differentiate the two games and aids Void War in standing on its own 2 feet, becoming a great addition to the genre. It has been 13 years and sadly we haven't seen an FTL sequel, so perhaps it is a good thing to see someone take up the mantle and provide us with an iteration of the formula with their own take on things. I'm a fan of the grimdark science fiction, and of course this here isn't Warhammer 40k, but it is definitely a setting that I think is interesting. It is also the first major difference between this and FTL. Whereas FTL was more light-hearted with bright colours and music, Void War is very much dark and gritty. Everything seems to be knackered, grim and dark. The ship design can be Gothic-like, with some looking like grand cathedrals in space, while others you will come across are demonically twisted aberrations that might have once been a noble vessel. This setting and the design is that of perhaps a hopeless end of desperate extremes, tough and unrelenting and very dark. I think this will likely appeal to fans of darker science fiction for sure. The pixel artistry going on here does a good job of describing such a grim and dismal future, where seemingly there is nothing but war. You might think that it could be more difficult to illustrate this with perhaps a simpler graphical style, but I think it does very well in both accentuating the grimness of the setting while providing a readable and functional user interface for the player. Perhaps they could have stylized the rooms a bit more somehow or used different colours, but this way I think helps to keep things visually clear. The background lore of the game is that there is this dying empire, within which is strewn all kinds of bad and crazy people and factions that are looking to run amok. There are Imperials, xenophobic and dedicated to the cause. They have Inquisitors and Marshals and sanctioned Psykers, who are essentially space wizards but grim and dark and metal. Besides these, there are numerous chaotic cults, such as the Death Cult and the Blood Cult, which consist of people who have lost everything, their sanity most severely, and they now worship dark, strange entities looking to make sacrifice and cast down all vestiges of order. There are mutants, demons, cyborgs and giant marine-like people, all of whom have different roles that they are geared towards. Let's just say the galaxy in Void War is a very dangerous and yes, I'll use the word again dear viewers, dark place. The innocent beware. The sound of Void War is perhaps what you might expect in this gritty and black game. The music is a darkened take on the kind of space synth vibe, adding to the whole theme going on here. Besides this, the ship sounds of weapons firing, the impact of hits, spells being cast, and combat during boarding actions all sounds good and responsive to your actions. It is subtle and not over the top, which is what I like. So now we have talked about the visuals and sound and all that, what is the actual point of the game, I hear you ask, dear viewer? Well, in Void War, you are the commander of a ship that must make its way through the galaxy to the centre of the Empire to stop bad things from happening. You do this by traversing space maps, representing different sectors of the galaxy, which are a string of nodes or locations for you to explore. This is done not through the use of a faster than light drive, but rather through the use of warp space, as your ship tears a hole into the warp and then travels to the next node close to instantly, before tearing back into real space. Whenever you arrive at a new node, you'll be presented with some kind of event. This could be the discovery of a station or strange location where you can make some simple decisions on what to do, like sending in your crew or providing materials or what have you, or the more common events of combat with another ship. Once you deal with the enemy or other occurrence, you'll usually be rewarded with scrap metal and or some sort of equipment for your ship or crew. There are also traders at nodes throughout the systems where you can spend scrap to obtain ship equipment, gear for your crew, ship's weapons, spells, and so forth. There is other stuff too, like mini-bosses, gateways to higher difficulties, and other strange things. A lot of the time you'll be fighting with other ships in combat, but there is a good sprinkle of these other nodes, and you do have some degree of choice to where you head. You begin the game by simply choosing your commander, who is a physical representation of you in the ship. This is not only a powerful unit, but also very valuable, who you must take care of, for if they die, you lose the game. After picking your commander, you can then pick a ship. The options are quite limited at the beginning, but there is a lot of ships that you can unlock, as well as different variations on current ships. While also looking different, the ships each have their own layouts of modules, as well as what systems are present. There are a lot of ship systems, but each ship will have at least the command throne, shields, engines, life support, and some form of weaponry. The command throne is basically the bridge where the ship is controlled, shields shield the ship, and so on. Besides this, vessels can have additional systems, like boarding facilities where you send crew over to the other ship, medical bays for healing ship members, and other strange things, like a system that creates servitor-like drones that only live for one jump. There is a lot of variety here which adds to the replayability and what sort of build you might want to go for with your ship. Most ship systems can be upgraded using scrap you've accumulated and require power to function. Power is generated by your ship, and you can upgrade this too to generate more for your needs. If a ship system loses power for some reason, it will cease to function. When you visit certain traders, they can sell you ship systems, so you can start to tailor your ship to how you want. You can also buy modules, which is 3 slots on your ship that you can fill with passive bonuses, like plus 10 health to death cults or something. Right, so let's talk about combat, as this is what you'll be doing the majority of the time, dear viewers. When you arrive at a new node in a sector, if you're plunged directly or choose to do so, you will be presented with the combat screen, which is simply your ship on one side of the screen and the enemy on the other. I assume you can only fight one other ship at a time, as this is all I ever faced. Understanding the combat is fairly simple, but there are nuances and intricacies that lead to some interesting gameplay. To win a ship combat, you need to do one of two things: kill all of the crew of the other ship, or destroy the ship itself. Demonic ships that have been possessed and have no crew can only be destroyed. So there are two dynamics going on here: your ability to damage and destroy the enemy ship, and take out the opposing vessel's crew. Your ship will have some kind of armament, like lasers or thud guns or power lances or what have you, and possibly missiles and other weapons too. They take time to charge, after which you can use them to target sections of the opposing ship. Most weapons will hit enemy shields, if they have any, before hitting the hull, so you need to have some sort of plan to bring them down first so you can start taking out hull points. Some weapons can bypass shields, so these are useful to destroy them, with another way just shooting so many shots that the shield can't possibly stop them all. Like your own crew, the opposing crew will attempt to repair them, so you'll constantly need to take stock of the state of the opposing ship's systems. The other tactic you might use as well as, or as your main focus, is to send a boarding party to the other ship. This is what is quite the difference from FTL. A lot of ships will start with a boarding system, which encourages you to not only exchange fire with, but also to get over to the other ship and start whacking stuff. Your commander as well as your other crew have different stats and equipment slots. This means that you can tool up your crew with various weapons, armours, special equipments and so on, and, if they are a Psyker, psychic spells. If you can get several crew kitted up decently, then they can be quite capable of taking out most, if not all of the enemy crew in one go. This is very much a column of strength in this game. Whereas in FTL boarding actions were possible and just another option, it is very much encouraged as part of the game in Void War. You load your crew into the assault sled and then pick a room you want to hit before you fire it off and attack the enemy ship. Your crew, once they have landed, will begin attacking either opposing crew or a system in the room. You can control as to where they move to, having to break through doors as they do so, but the actual combat is automated. Your crew can equip some on-use equipment, which can be used in real time too, like healing allies around them or doing damage to the ship's system they are in. If you manage to kill all the crew, and it isn't a demonic ship, then you will have won the combat and gained any scrap or other bits from the fight. It is good to remember that your crew is on the other ship when you're firing your vessel's weapons. Sometimes I forgot and was busy blasting away, leading to my crew getting killed in the explosion and me losing the game. So be careful, dear viewers. Some ships also have containers that hold scrap and equipment, which I would recommend you try and grab before destroying or leaving the vessel. There is an active pause which will help you queue up some actions and send crew about the place, as combat can get quite frantic, especially further into the game. For as are you trying to attack the other ship, so is it trying to take you down as well. Lastly, with combat, and of use for other things too, is the Psykers and their abilities. These are members of the crew that are able to essentially cast spells, both offensive and defensive. There is a good amount of sorcery available, from direct damage spells to the other ship, to heals, summoning of adds, teleports and so on. This adds quite a new dynamic to the game. You can tailor your psychics to do certain things, like pepper the enemy ship with missiles. And these are powerful, dear viewers, as they can't miss and bypass all shields. You can also have them summoning stuff to the other ship or protecting your own. I think this is a great addition, which again sets this game apart from its forebear. So as we can see, there is a lot of extra interesting parts to Void War that are quite unique. Not only has it taken inspiration from, it has also built on top of that came before it. I have to say that initially I was a bit apprehensive about this game, as it seems so similar, but after putting in a good score of hours, I would say quite happily that this is very much its own game and one that is definitely worth checking out. There is a lot of familiarity, of course, but the focus on shipboarding, alongside kitting out your crew and the use of Psykers, are great additions to this sort of game. There is pretty much more of everything, more weapons, more systems, more modules, more crew, and equipment for them. There is a couple of things that are in FTL that aren't actually in this game, like your characters levelling up as well as slowly becoming better at the system they are manning. There is a lot of difficulties to unlock in Void War, along with ships and different commanders, which adds to the replayability and the longer term life of the game. I should mention, of course, that it is a roguelike or roguelite or what have you, so each run you start fresh, and once you die, your run is over. Essentially, if you enjoyed FTL, then you're going to have a lot of fun here as well. If you haven't played that game before, and or like a certain warhammering franchise, then you will also definitely enjoy this. You can pick up the basics pretty quickly, and after a while hopefully understand the majority of the game's systems and features. It is a fine title which is not simply just an ape of a much beloved game. It steps out of that shadow and is its own thing, worthy of your attention. It is available now for PC on Steam for £16.75. And there we go, dear viewers, another video from me here down in the Ancient Hold. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're doing well. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.